Welcome to SBU 67D Principles of Management 1. My name is Felicia Friedheit and Aqua. I'll be taking you through Unit 4 Planning, and we're going to start with Session 1, the element of planning. By the end of this session, you should be able to explain the term planning, explain why planning is important, and identify and explain the various elements of planning and explain the principles of planning as well. So let's delve in and let's start. When it comes to planning is all about what? It's all about determining the organization's missions and major goals. And then once you've been able to determine these missions and major goals, you should be able to put in place strategies to help you achieve these goals. And then you select the most appropriate ways of organizing resources to implement these strategies. When it comes to planning, first and foremost, you should know that it's a futuristic activity. We plan for the future. We don't plan for the past. And so this is geared towards the future of the organization. And so there are goals that have to be achieved in the near future. And these goals or missions of the organizations is what is going to help us put in place things to meet it up. And so once you've been able to determine the organization's missions and goals, which is future inclined, you should be able to put in place strategies. How then do we achieve this goal or this objective? And then if you're going to be able to have strategies, you should also have the resources in there to help you achieve those strategies. And so you should be able to organize these resources to implement the strategies. So when it comes to planning is very, very important. We always say if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. So planning is key because first and foremost is a fundamental function of management. You can't do controlling without planning. You can't do organizing without planning. You can't do leading without planning. And so planning is very, very critical and essential in there. We're saying that planning is a useful way of getting managers to anticipate in decision making the appropriate goals and strategies the organization is going to need. I just spoke about this. We're saying that the organization obtains and commits the resources required to reach these objectives. If you are putting our resources in there, then we need to be careful of what we are going in. And so planning is very important. Planning is also necessary as it gives the organization a sense of direction and purpose. This is what we're going to look at. This is what we want to do. And so this is what we are going to gear all our resources, all our attention and things to it. It also helps the organization, the managers, to also coordinate the various functions and divisions of the organization to ensure that we are all going in the same direction. I made mention earlier, we can't control without planning. We can't lead, we can't organize without planning. And so for us to be able to even coordinate the various things that has to be done, there is a need for planning. We're saying that progress towards the objective is actually measured and monitored for corrective action to be done if it's unsuccessful, which is looking at controlling. And like I said, you can't control without planning, because in our planning process, that's where we're going to even look at contingency plans, what can go wrong, what we should do just in case things go wrong as well. So what are the elements of planning? The first thing is that there should be an objective. There's something we want to attain. And in management, we always make mention of the fact that our objectives has to be SMART. The SMART principles come in here, where we're saying that they should be specific, they should be measurable, they should be attainable, and they should also be realistic, and then they should be time bound. Some also do it reliable as well. So at the end of the day, there should be a clear objective. There was a reason why you came to UCC or you're doing this program. There was an objective for it. Maybe it is to get a certificate to give you better money or promote you in business. Maybe it is to get that knowledge. Maybe it is to help you get some work or some job you want to do. There is an objective for it. There is a goal for what you are doing. Your goal is that at the end of the 4 years, you should get a certificate. Maybe you want to continue schooling and you're hoping to get a good certificate to continue. Maybe there's a work opening or opportunity at your side. Your goal is that you can use a certificate to apply and then go up. Maybe yours is for promotion. Yes. So there is a goal. Maybe yours is just to inspire others in your family to know that it is possible. So there's a goal which we have in mind, and that is why planning is key. And once you have those objectives, you have these goals, we need to put in place strategies. If your goal is to finish with the first class, if your goal is to finish with the second class, if your goal is to finish with the third class, if your goal is to punish people by getting a pass or attempted degree, you realize that the strategies you put in will be different. And so if you want to get a good grade, obviously you know that class participation is key. Getting your assessments and assignments and things done is key. Making sure you learn for the exams and you pass is key. And so if you're going to pass your exams, then you know that you need to be reading the textbooks and your course materials like these ones. You should be reading it just to make sure that you're on top of your game. That is a strategy you have to put in place. In the business field, we need to have in place policies and procedures as well. And so policies will guide you that this is what is supposed to be done. This is not a no in there as well. Procedures, how should things even be done? These are all supposed to help when we're looking at in planning. Rules and regulations, yes. So this is yes, this is no. If you do this, this is the consequence. If you do that, that is the consequence. These are very much necessary as well. There should be a schedule, a time frame. We made mention that in business we're looking at what smartness, and T is about what timeliness or time bound. And so your schedules, you must meet it. And in our first session we talked about what effectiveness. You should be able to meet your targets, and time matters in there. And so scheduling is key in there. And then we have the program in there as well, because some of them may be short term and maybe long term in there. And so these are very key elements of planning as well. There are some essential characteristics of every good planning you do, or every good plan you come out with. One key essential characteristic is that they have clear-cut objectives. They are smart. When you read it, you know that this is what they are saying. It's not like they're going round about. They are practicable. It is not something which is just abstract or something someone is just, you just can't see the head or tail. These are supposed to be what? Practicable. They should be understandable. Everyone who takes it should be able to read and then get it. Effective communication and be able to what? Apply it. Management information system is something that is supposed to be what? Considered when you're doing a good plan. They should be economical. The cost as against the benefit. You don't go and spend 20,000 Ghana cedis in a resort or somewhere drafting a plan which when you are done with the plan and you effect it, you're going to just get 1,000 cedis in there. So at the end of the day, this should be what the cost and the benefit should match in them. They should be comprehensive enough to be able to put together everything as a whole. It's not like fragmented. No, the plans should be what? Comprehensive enough. They must start at the top. They must start at the top. The management buy-in matters a lot when you're doing planning. There should be flexibility. COVID has taught all of us to be what? Flexible enough to adapt to situations. If your systems and your plans are too rigid, you realize that when things happen out of the blue, you can't position yourself to take advantage or do anything about it. We also need to look out for dynamic managers who would be more what? Adaptive as well. There's what? Careful precision. You're looking out for the key nitty-gritties in there as well. There's also what? Quantitative plans, which we're going to discuss in this session as well, and it's very key in there as well. And then availability of what? Resources, because if you have good plans and we can't, you may want to do and get an A or something, but at the end of the day, if you don't get your money to pay your school fees early, you realize that you don't even have a sound mind to learn properly. At the end of the day, if you don't get your school fees early, the textbooks and things you're supposed to receive, you won't get them early, and they can all affect your performance in the course. So you realize that these are all essential characteristics of good planning as well. So in this session, we've looked at management functions planning, where we focus our discussion on the meaning, the importance, as well as the elements and characteristics of good planning. Thank you, and see you in the second session.